Today going to do something I've been dreading doing. Going to replace this tappet cover that's been leaking pretty bad on me. Have a new billet tappet cover to replace the tin one that came on it. Have a new timing pin, housing, and O-ring and everything to go on. Gear puller for the VE pump. While I'm doing stuff to the motor, I also have a freeze plug, whatever they call these. Killer frost plug plate for the back of the motor. Get that on there. I also have a new gasket for the VE pump. That way when I put that back on, nice fresh gasket on there, no leaks. To start this off, I went ahead and removed the throttle linkage. That way that's not in the way. Also removed the fenders and the hood and the rest of the body on here. Figured that would make it easier to do this tappet cover. Not actually, just doing a lot of body work. So there's a few bolts that hold the stock one on. Easiest thing to do is remove the VE pump. Been putting this off because I don't know, I never did anything like this, and you gotta line stuff up and make markings and all that fun stuff. Gonna get after it though. See if I can get this done. Might be a crazy thought because I've never seen it done. Let me see if I can get my flashlight in there. But I think if I just remove this line here, I think I can get this tappet cover off without removing the VE pump. I'm going to give it a shot, and if that's possible, this will be the easiest tappet cover I've ever seen done. See what I can do. To get started, I'm going to remove this tube here, get that out of the way, and then see if I can get all these 10 mils off of this. See if it'll slide out. This just held on by a small flathead, or looks like which is jammed between the block and the starter here. There you go. Now I'll start on some of these 10 mil bolts. Get the easy ones first. Tired of using manual tools, so I'm going to break these loose and then grab a small impact. The rest of the ones back there I know I'm going to struggle with without taking the VE pump off, but like I said, going to try, see what I can get done. So just a bunch of 10 mil bolts with these little gaskets on them, or seals. Well, definitely not doable without taking the pump off. So we're gonna take the injection pump off. First thing's going to be removing this bracket off the fill tube. Well, that bolt to loosen it. You'll twist the fill tube counterclockwise, which will then take it off of this. Get all that off of here and remove some of the lines that are on the VE pump. Pull the gear and take it off so it's out of the way. And for the bracket, going to be an 8 mil. Get that broken loose and grab some power tools. Alright, so bracket's now off. 8 mil around the neck and a 16 mil right there. I just threaded that back in so I didn't lose it. Now I should be able to crack this counterclockwise and pull that off of the timing case. Go ahead and remove the neck off the top. That way you can actually rotate this a little bit more to get that to pull off. And for sake of not losing anything, I'm going to go ahead and thread this back on. I'm going to stick that 8 mil right back in here. So with that removed, you have the nut and lock washer here. Behind it is a pin. I'm going to go ahead, I'm not going to put the motor at top dead center. I'm going to see where that pin is once I pull this, this nut off here. Not sure what size that is yet, but get that taken off, take the washer off. I'm going to shove a rag in here just so nothing falls down into the timing case. Take that off, get the lock pin to 12 o'clock, and then I'll go ahead and lock the VE pump where that's at. That way it should all go back together without timing being messed up at all. Alright, so this nut is a 22 mil. Go ahead and get that off. I got my rag all shoved in here. I should be able to get this off by hand. So you have the washer and the nut taken off. Go put these to the side. Now if you look, that keyway is actually at 12 o'clock, right where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the pump and start pulling this apart. So to lock the pump, you got this 10 mil right here. Going to remove that and this locking washer. Reinstall the bolt without the washer. Torque down to 22 foot-pounds, and that'll lock the pump where it's at. That way when we remove this and reinstall it, nothing will change. This bolt is much longer than I thought it was going to be. And here's that special washer that's in there. So take that out. Put the 10 mil back in. Just get it hand tight, then grab the torque wrench and do 22 foot-pounds on this one. All right. So now that the pump is locked and the pump keyway is at 12 o'clock, we can start removing the pump out of here. All right, so I'm gonna be using a T-bar style puller that I got off of Amazon. I'll link that in the description. Does not come with the bolts to bolt into the injection pump, but all you have to do is take 2 bolts out of your intake horn here. They thread in there perfectly, so I got this one started. Get that in a little bit more, get the T-bar puller on there, and start taking this off. It's a little bit big, so I'm going to do some modifications here. Alright, I think and hope this is going to work. That was a failed attempt. It just bent. On to the next idea. It's the next night because that gear puller did not work, but I got a new one. So we'll slap this in, get that pulled, and take the VE pump off. Before pulling the VE pump, it's a lot easier to take all the lines off. So they're all going to be 17 mil nuts on there. So I'll crack all those loose, pull those off, and this will be ready to get off. With all the lines popped off on the pump, I'm going to get them all cracked on this side, get those off, take all of the lines off, and then they'll be out of the way to get everything removed. Now they're totally unbolted. I'm going to get each one marked, so it's just easier to put them back on. I'm not playing trying to see which one goes where. Get those all marked, get them out of the way, cover the injectors so nothing gets in there. All right, now that everything's removed, should be ready to pop this gear off and pull the pump out. So we'll get this all lined up. Get our second bolt in there. And start spinning this and it'll pop it off. So that came off pretty easy. We can take the puller off, start undoing the 3 bolts on the back of the timing case here. They're 13 millimeter, so we'll get those out and pull that off. All right, so 2 of the 3 nuts are now off. Save the easiest one for last right here on the end. The one that's on the back side of the pump, between the pump and the block, is an absolute pain to get to. Definitely easiest way to do it's going to be like a curved 13 millimeter wrench. I used a swivel socket and kind of wedged my hands in there to get it done. But go ahead and get the last nut removed and take the pump off. So there is the pump there. And the reason I did it when it was at the 12 o'clock position is this little keyway right here. So that moves around pretty easy, and if you had it down at the 6 o'clock, that would potentially fall out into your timing case. And with all that space freed up, I am going to remove this return line so that's out of the way. And then you can get this tappet cover off. Now keep in mind, this motor has not ran in probably about a year. And there is a ton of oil that was just stuck in this and seeping out. So that should be the end of my oil leaks on this motor. I'll go ahead and get all the gasket off of this and then pop the new one on. With the old tappet cover off and the mating surface all cleaned up, I'm going to go ahead and get the new shiny tappet cover on. So, and with the billet tappet cover, or even the stock cover, this is all going to get bolted down to 18 foot-pounds, starting at the inside, working your way out. And the new cover does get installed dry. So no sealer and no oil around the O-ring. New tappet cover comes with all new hardware. These 6 bolts all have O-rings, so O-rings obviously go on the outside, get those on there. And 2 drains, I may just use one and plug the other port. Not 100% sure yet, but those 2 will go on obviously on the back side of the engine here. And all bolts are going to have some blue Loctite on them. Like I said, 18 foot-pounds on these. I have all my O-rings installed on the back side of the tappet cover. All the bolts are pre-Loctited. So I'll go ahead and get this installed. Get these all hand tightened. Like I said, we'll torque down from the middle out. These I'm just going to put in loosely because I'm not sure what my plan is yet.